He's a top-rated kicker in the NFL and a member of the New Orleans Saints since 2009. His second-half onside kick was instrumental in the Saints' Super Bowl victory in 2010 over the Indianapolis Colts. There's much more to him than just football, however. As a youth, he was often bullied and suffered a lack of confidence in school. With the support of his faith and his family, he used those obstacles to achieve incredible success in sports and in the classroom. He's written a new book, The Middle School Rules of Thomas Morstead. Please welcome to the program, Thomas Morstead. Thomas, thanks for being here. What made you decide to write a children's book? I know you have children of your own.
Well, the author, Sean Jensen, reached out to me. He's done a number of books in this series, and he just thought I'd be a great addition to the series, and I was blown away that he asked me. It's been a great project to work on for the past year. Sean's been a joy to work with, and it's been a very rewarding through writing the book.
I love the format of the book, Thomas, because reluctant readers love, what now they're called graphic novels now. They were kind of called comic books when we were kids, but it's got an easy feel to it, particularly for boys. Now, you endured bullying as a child because of the way you looked. You had a lazy eye and the way you dressed. What did those experiences teach you?
Well, I think it teaches you empathy. Learn in life is to be uncomfortable or to feel pain or to suffer. And I think it just teaches you empathy, and it teaches you, hopefully how you don't want to feel and how to treat other people. And so, I'm glad that I went through those experiences as a young person.
In the book, you talk about your parents, and especially your grandfather, a farmer, who taught you the value of hard work. Why was it so important to learn that at a young age, and what of it do you carry into your career now?
All of it. I think more important than what you say as a parent or a grandparent or a mentor to someone is how you act and the way you model. And I've been very fortunate to have a lot of people like that in my life that, I just watched the way they operated. I watched the way they treated other people. I watched the way my dad spoke to my mom, how he treated her, how he spoke to us, and how he treated us. And, I think not everybody's fortunate to have that. And I think it's a huge reason for kind of where I'm at today.
I was surprised to learn the roots of this kicking career. It really started with rugby, according to the book. Explain that to me.
Yeah, look, my mom is from England, childhood, and so we would go visit at Christmases or weddings in the summer, and I just got to be around it. And my Uncle Charlie kind of taught me how to punt a spiral with a rugby ball. And I don't know, some people love going and hitting golf balls at the driving range, and I loved going out and playing football. So it kind of got me going at an early age.
Your faith has always been an important part of your life, and it's woven gently throughout this book. Why was that important? It's rare to find a middle school book or a children's book that incorporates faith into it. Was that something important to you as you wrote this?
Yeah, I think it is very important. And, I'm not trying to get anybody over the head with it, but I've had a lot of people in my life that have had a type of confidence who they were and what they stood for that, it didn't feel human. Everybody deals with different things, and those certain people that impacted me, they all had one thing in common, and that was their faith. And I wanted to have that sort of confidence in my life and what direction I was going. And look, I certainly haven't made all the right decisions. I've made plenty of mistakes, but I think it's something that's always been something I've been able to go back to and kind of recenter on. And so I just think it's important that people know that.
Well, those happy voices in the background attest to the good choices you did make. Now, you and your wife, Lauren, started a foundation, What You Give Will Grow, committed to improving the lives of those in need, particularly children with cancer. Now, the foundation was inspired by a former coach, Coach Gans. Tell me about him and his influence in your life.
I could spend hours talking about him. I had him at a very, I was still very formidable at that time. I was 22 years old. He came into SMU my senior year. He had coached in the NFL for 25 years as a special teams coordinator, and it was just a blessing to have him. He was a godsend. He used to always say we had 1 year together, and he died the day after I got drafted. So that was quite a trip. And, he taught me how to live my life. And he, again, was a wonderful model how to treat people. He treated everybody so wonderfully around him. He knew everyone in the building, just had respect for every human being that he came in contact with. And I think just being able to see him operate for a whole year, and he was just a huge mentor for me at that time in my life. And so I knew that I always wanted to do something to, honor him, and so this was kind of the way to do that. And so it's been special to be able to do it.
I love the line you attribute to him at the near the end of the book. You have an afterword, and you say that he taught you the more aggressive team usually wins the game, and that kind of gave you peace in the middle of a high-stakes Super Bowl. I want to talk a little about the NFL now. You all have not been back to practice, to your training facility, I guess due to the COVID pandemic. When do you expect you'll go back, and under what circumstances, Thomas?
I don't have an expectation right now. I do know that training camp is slated to begin the last week of July. The world is changing every day, every week, every month. So who knows what it's going to be like in another month and a half or month. It's just, the world just keeps changing. And so I think, as a sport, we're fortunate that we're not missing games right now. So we have the being able to continue to gather information and continue to, wait for new things to come out, new testing, more testing. And so hopefully, I know that everybody got skin in the game. Everybody wants the season to happen. And so hopefully everybody's working together. The smartest people in the world are all pointing their gun at this same thing right now. So I'm very hopeful in the fact that, that we're making strides, whether it's more testing or different types of testing that could be quicker or more accurate, or, there could be, at a time there could be a vaccine, things like that. So I'm very hopeful for those things to continue to develop.
Do you anticipate half full Superdomes or no fans at all during these games? What do you think is going to happen? What are you hearing?
I don't know. I don't know. I would say I'm putting my expectation at no fans in the stadiums because that's kind of the worst case scenario if we're playing, is that there would be no one out there to watch. But I'm hopeful that we'll have fans. I don't know how filled the stadiums will be and how that'll operate, but like I said, the world will be so different in another month or two. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, the Saints held a virtual meeting following an apology by Drew Brees for comments he made regarding those NFL protests back in 2015 and regarding the national anthem. How important was that meeting, and what did you all learn from one another?
Well, I thought it was very important. It was a very vulnerable meeting, but I think it was a very necessary meeting. And I think maybe some people that felt a certain way hadn't maybe fully expressed themselves clearly enough. And I think that definitely happened with a number of players having that opportunity to share what they felt and to speak on their own experiences. And so I think it was a good thing. And, hopefully moving forward, I'm excited to see kind of how our team and so many other teams across the league, how we move forward and really looking forward to being part of some positive change, not only in New Orleans but in the country. So it's exciting.
Thomas, final question. What do you want kids to take away from the book? Why did you want to be a part of this and particularly write it for children?
I think, look, there's a lot of answers that I could give for that, but I think, my story is kind of unique in that I wasn't a highly touted recruit. I was a late bloomer, and I didn't have this illustrious high school career or things like that. I think it was more about, sticking to your convictions, knowing, even though I wasn't outwardly confident, I was inwardly confident in kind of who I was and what I was about. And I just hope that kids that get a chance to read it, if they're going through a similar type of situation, sometimes you can feel like no one's ever been through it before, and that they'll know that, hey, I've persevered through this, and that you need to have it's hard to have a long forward looking lens when you're that young. You just lack a lot of perspective, and hopefully kids can see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that doing the right thing and sticking to your convictions about what you think is the right thing to do is going to pay off down the road. And it's just a hard thing to do at that age. So hopefully it will inspire those kids to do.
No, they're great lessons throughout. And as you were speaking, I was thinking of that lesson about, you can do more than you think you can. And, your academic studies, not only your sports pursuits, but also the pursuits of the mind, and to do that in tandem, and it shapes a full person. So I love the book, and I think young people will as well. Thomas Morstead, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
The Middle School Rules of Thomas Morstead is available at bookstores everywhere and online. You can also find out more about his What You Give Will Grow Foundation at wygwg.org.